So everyone, welcome back to the SuperCircuit Podcast. I'm Type Aiden, and I'm here with Connor Chadwick, otherwise known as Overton Audios, and just want to ask, how are you doing, mate? How was lockdown been?
Hello. Yeah, I've been all good. Yeah, it's been an interesting one. I've not really fully, should I say, experienced a lockdown because I keep going about this on my own podcast, but because I work in construction and so much money goes into it, you can't just stop it because it will cost millions, potentially trillions, to stop the whole industry.
Yeah.
So they have to keep going, even if it's slower. So about March, between the end of March and the beginning of May, I was going on site in London every 10 days. This was obviously taking the car.
Ah, of course.
Not
Yeah,
taking-
I saw a picture there of the tube one day, and I nearly had a panic attack.
Yeah. It's all wearing masks now, so it's still safe.
Yeah. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I work I kind of do a bit of labor work myself on a building site. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah. So my boss would be kind of, I wouldn't be in all the time, but he would be kind of just like, just mind yourself, like, because I might need you next time or whatever.
Yeah. What was good about the way I was doing it was that when we were effectively doing it this way, we were only on site once every 10 days, which was enough time to sort of, in a way, sort of self-isolate in a way afterwards.
That's good.
Yeah, even though we didn't need really, we weren't getting any symptoms. It was good to do anyway because it was still in line with keeping.
Yeah, and you all stayed safe anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So we were. It was a bonus that we were, because we were staying at home anyway. Whenever I was going on site was the only time I was going out of the house. So it still works out. Like, oh yeah, it still works out.
And what is it? You mentioned your own podcast. I've been listening to it quite a bit, recently. Like I enjoy the talks you and Dan have about any kind of things that are going on.
Yeah, we only did that podcast out of lockdown, to be honest. I've been thinking about doing a podcast for absolutely ages because I really enjoy listening to the Big Finish podcast, and that's actually how they are able to get to most of their audience. And I thought, to be honest, the only way I'm really interacting with my audience is on Instagram through some posts. So I thought it would be good to get an actual conversation going, and rather than just seeing me text back, you're actually hearing me. I don't know if that makes a difference, but
I guess you're getting a sort of it's not coming back more with text. It can be taken either way, but you're getting the actual I guess emotional side of it or something.
Well, yeah, and plus it is just more interactive to hear a human being reply to you rather than just it being a text.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice. I think it's better, and as well as that, me and Dan get to chat about bits and pieces, like when people send in funny comments, etc. You get to have a bit of a laugh at the same time and feel like we're really properly interacting with people, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? I was doing a podcast with George a week or two ago, and he was mentioning to me about how all of the doctors were getting turned into ducks or something.
Oh God, yeah, that. yeah. There's the DW2012 meme page has turned everyone into ducks, and they've done a duck adventure already with the purple duck tour.
Oh right.
And it's exactly as beautiful as I thought it would be. It's just ducks. I mean, there's nothing more to it. It's just purely duck.
It's insane what people can come up with in lockdown, just on pure creativity,
It's madness.
Definitely,
absolute madness.
But no, I've seen a lot of people now, doing the whole thing where, I mean, I know yourself creating your own doctor happened, but I saw this thing where everyone sort of created their own doctor. It was on a hashtag or something.
Oh yeah, it was like hashtag staying in the TARDIS. It was to do with it was obviously to do with Doctor Who, but
Yeah.
it was I think what it was. I think it was just sort of a nice thing to do for people in lockdown, more or less.
Yeah, and a lot of people have ended up kind of jumping off and started doing their own stuff with those doctors,
Yeah,
creating their own little stories and whatever. So that's a plus.
well, exactly. It's great to see as well. Like when you see fans and everything find like Doctor Who like that's something I'm always an advocate for, which is a lot of people I've seen. I know I've spoken about this endlessly, but I was about nearly 2.5 months ago. Pete Adams, who plays the young Doctor in this shared universe, he and I used to make fan films when we were 12 years old, which was now literally over half of our lives ago, which is just like makes me feel incredibly old. But he found some raw footage from one of the episodes that he never finished from 2009. He's been furloughed, so he thought he'd get on and edit it, and he did. And I did like a little Instagram thing while I was watching it and everything. But I feel it still holds up to this day. Like it's got that sort of passion there, you know?
Yeah, because I know people say, "Oh yeah, I watched DW 2012 all the way back in 2013 or whatever, or 2012 or whatever." But I'm like, you guys don't remember the moments, the fan films before that. Like there was a whole,
Oh yeah, 100%.
like there was an age of like loads of people just making like fan films and stuff, and even going so far as to get like Cybermen and Daleks into them and whatever. And
Yeah, and not to get too, I suppose, well, the word wouldn't be political, but like it just be, I don't like the stigma that Doctor Who fan films have to hold up to the same level of the people at the BBC who make it, because that's impossible.
oh, of course.
Like, I loved Pete's fan film from 2009 because you can see the heart and the passion in it.
Yeah, I mean, like I watched. I think you showed a bit of it, and I remember like there was was it? I don't know if it was a dare. Was it a dare like or something? But it was like a was it like a bucket or something or a wash?
Uh, what was it? I don't know. I don't know if it was from that one specifically, but there has been a fan film that I've been a part of from back in 2014 where they built their own Daleks out of buckets.
Yeah, I mean that's still very like creative, like because
Mm.
when you don't have the money to actually like build the whole big prop and all that stuff with fiberglass and stuff, like it's a great substitute.
Yeah, I'm just not exactly. I'm just not a massive fan of when people laugh at it for not looking good. It's like, no, no, you can see the passion of Doctor Who fans.
Yeah, and sometimes fans go as far as to just create their own villains and stuff like that. They'll just get monster costumes and stuff and just make something entirely new.
Yeah, exactly. It's all just the passion of fans. And as
Yeah.
well as that, like I've seen another thing said recently, which is, oh, you can't make a Doctor Who fan film without your own TARDIS, and I'm like, well, you can.
I mean,
Like,
green screen's kind of a thing.
we are like back in my day, it was
Okay.
I would just use my bedroom. It
Ah,
literally was as simple as me going, "This is the TARDIS." I'm walking into my bedroom and using my laptop as the TARDIS screen.
oh, I actually, I don't know if it was your ones I saw, but I saw Oliver Silak's ones.
Yeah,
Yeah, where he'd do the same. He'd use his own room as the TARDIS.
yeah. He and I were making fan films together back in the day when we'd go into school, and instead of well, it's quite bad, but I know that not to like I'm not well. Back at my school anyway, if you had French or Spanish, that basically meant you weren't working. And during those lessons, we would plan out our fan films that we were going to film at the end of after school.
Yeah, well, to be fair, that's probably more creative than doing French because I was the exact same. I was just like I remember I'd be in a French class and she'd be going, up on the board writing the words, and I just literally be writing down or drawing something.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. I saw this funny documentary actually about schools where um, how the students cheat is by using Google Translate. I'm just like, that's the new world we live in. I just thought, wow.
To be fair, you probably could, like, the oral stuff maybe not, but like,
yeah, but like, it was still weird to me. I was just thinking, that is now the world we live in, where you can just Google Translate something and pass.
yeah.
Mad times.
Yeah, well, look, it might end up like to come to a point where like you can literally just download the information into your head, and then I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that came along eventually.
Yeah, I mean, Doctor Who's done weirder stuff in its time anyway. So
Well, Cybus Industries with the earpods that download the news into your head.
oh, that's creeped me out for life, man. I will if I see something like that come about, I'm just gonna be like, nope, not touching it.
Yeah,
not going near it.
I think it's closer than we think. 'Cause we've already got AirPods.
Yeah,
we're one step closer. Just need to slap a Cyberman on it, and then you're done.
Oh, I mean, what's his name? Elon Musk is saying he wants to create, like, I think he actually does want to create.
Oh yeah, he wants to download music into your brain.
Yeah, and I'm just like, that is going to be Cybermen. We're going to all become Cybermen.
Basically, it's not going to be music; it's going to be orders. Have you ever watched a film called They Live?
No, but the title sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's a cult film released in, I believe it was 1986, some like late 80s. And what happened in that was this man who was sort of going from place to place, didn't really have a home, starts noticing that he basically steals some stuff to try and live on, realizes it's just a bunch of sunglasses, leaves them behind and keeps one pair. And these sunglasses actually reveal the subliminal messaging in like advertisements and newspapers, etc. And it also reveals that the world is run by aliens.
Oh my god!
but it's really cool for the aspect of when you're looking at media stuff, because it shows he looks up an advertisement and it just says obey and reproduce, and then when you look at when he takes the sunglasses off, it's a picture of a woman sunbathing, going, go on holiday, go to Greece now, or something like that. And it's the subliminal messaging that every advertisement has, and he's seeing through it, and it's how aliens are controlling the humans. And I'm like, you see, that's... Well, I'm not saying aliens are doing it.
Oh yeah, but it's like...
But that's there is always going to be subliminal messaging in advertising. It's a really good film. A bit cheesy, but other than that, the message still holds up.
Oh yeah, I mean, Jesus. I mean, even today, like, there's definitely, like, I guess because I'm doing digital media in college, I'm starting to kind of notice how you market a product, and it's like, these fuckers.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be that. I'll check that out later. That might be an interesting watch.
Yeah, it's a really fun film.
Is it like funny, or is it kind of dark humor or something?
Oh, well, it's actually where there's, I don't know, you've probably heard of it somewhere on the internet, probably, but there was this saying which is, I'm here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of chewing gum.
Oh, right.
That's where the line comes from. It comes from that film.
Right.
Like, so, which is, like, I've heard it all over the internet. I saw it in that film, and I was like, no. This is the film that's done that. It was great.
Yeah, I've just looked it up. I looked it up now. Jesus, it looks pretty.
What, have you found a picture of the alien?
Yeah. Oh Jesus, that's weird.
Yeah, the ending scene is the funniest bit ever, because it's left so open ended. I love it.
I don't know. I'll give it a look in anyway.
Awesome.
But yeah, back to the YouTube stuff. Like, I just want to ask you, like, I know you've said it before, but like, how would you say it kind of really started for you? Like, that you kind of got the interest in it.
I know exactly the story, and it's not often I get to tell the story, so I'm excited now. Um, it starts off in the year 2000. um, it was I can't remember whose wedding it was, but it was a wedding. I was 5 years old. Oh god, that was 20 years ago now. Oh my god, and I was interested in someone's camera. I wanted to have a go on the camera. It was a Super 8 camera, and so I got to film a bit of the wedding with the guy watching, because obviously it was his camera, and I was like 5 years old, so I don't know why he would have trusted me anyway, but he did, luckily. And then I had my own. Then a few weeks later, I had my own Super 8 camera bought for me.
Oh, nice.
And basically I just filmed around the house. I just filmed like my dad doing bits and pieces, same with my mum and my sister, and this was me well, she would have been 2 or 3, so I can't imagine how she was doing much. But what would then happen is my dad would send it off to a shop to get it developed, and then we'd play it on a projector after a few weeks. Honestly, I feel old. I feel so old talking about this technology, because something I'd noticed. Sorry, going a bit off track here, but something I always notice is that I always feel older than I am because of how fast technology is changing.
Yeah, I mean, because you've just gone from you're saying you started with a Super 8 camera, and now you're here with like something along the lines of a camera.
I'm here with my iPhone because I shoot my monthly vlogs on my iPhone.
Oh,
like,
right.
So it's like, yeah, the world has got the world has just gone mad. It's like I always say it's like back when I was younger, I was using those Etch-a-Sketch things.
I've heard the name, but I wouldn't.
It's basically like this board that has two knobs knobs on it that you can turn, and it will draw as you turn them. So you can turn one for up and down, turn another one for right and left.
Yeah, I know that thing. Yeah,
I was using that back in the day, and now kids have got iPads.
Jeez.
I didn't get an iPad until I was 18 years old. I didn't get my first proper phone. I had a flip phone when I was like 11 or 12 years old, but I did not have my first proper phone. I didn't have my first iPhone until I was 18 as well. But my Windows, I used to have like an old Windows phone.
All right.
I didn't have one of them until I was 16. So for me, I've not even had any of this new technology for 10 years yet. I'm 25 now, so I've not even had any of the updated technology that we know that even then it's outdated now. Like I've not even had that for 10 years, and everybody else, like, children are growing up with it, and I'm just like, oh, this makes me feel very uneasy.
I mean, this is gonna scare you even more. I remember I went to I do kind of dress cosplay for people. I went to Spider-Man to my cousin's birthday, my second cousin and whatever. But his little brother, literally, I saw this afterwards. Literally got the phone, like his dad or his mom handed him the phone, just to distract him or something. He managed to open the phone, get onto YouTube, and watch his videos.
How old was he?
He is he's 2 to 3.
Oh my god! Well, they're going to be more technologically adept than the rest of us.
Imagine then if you just take that away from them. That's great.
I'd say, in my opinion, controversial or not, is you have to earn that.
Yeah.
A 2-year-old doesn't need an iPhone.
I know.
Like I didn't. My first experience was an iPhone, which was the first ever iPhone. My dad had it, and I was like 11 or 12, and he would let us play games on it, But like he'd buy the free games though, and he'd go, "Don't buy anything." But that was before. Well, in all fairness, we couldn't anyway, because that was before touch or touch fingerprints and Face ID or anything like that. So we couldn't anyway. But yeah, that was my first experience, was just borrowing my dad's, and now here we are. But anyway, back to the story. What then happened was I had my Super 8 camera. We did bits and pieces there, and then my interest was still through making those, but then that sort of died out, as it usually does when you're 5 or 6 years old. And then when I was in year 7, which I was around 11 or 12. One of my best mates started a YouTube channel, and this was back in 2000, like this was March 2007.
Oh yeah.
And he was just filming little videos on his webcam of his hamster. That's how basic it was. There was no, I can't get over the fact that now YouTube is just filled with television.
Yeah.
Like for me, YouTube at its prime was when it was about people.
Yeah, like the hamsters doing something, or the cat.
Yeah, like little funny pet. I mean, we still get those little funny like pet videos now, but it's completely flooded by paid advertisements, which of course is fascinating in itself because of how the world has changed. When 10 years ago, literally 10 years ago, 2010, nothing of that at all.
No.
And it's only really come about in the last 2 to 3 years that things have really started doing that. When I remember when people were laughing at the fact that, the Late Late Show, the one with James Corden or the other one with Jimmy Fallon, when they had their own YouTube channels and were uploading clips, people thought that was hilarious, thinking, what the hell? What are TV doing on YouTube? And now it's a normal thing.
Yeah, it's like, if I could backtrack now to like, I'd say at least 2011, it's so different now. Because I'd watch... It's like, I remember back in 2011, you could look up something like, I don't know, just look up a funny clip from like, you try and find a clip from TV.
Yeah.
Wouldn't find this. Nowadays, you can look
up. Well, that's something I was going to say, actually. Now there are clips from TV shows on YouTube. Back in the day, if they were on YouTube, they get copyright claimed.
Yeah.
That's how old this is, like, we're talking here, is that when people would be... Because... This leads back to the story I'm trying to tell about. Yeah. I made my own YouTube channel. It was called The Filmer 2. I don't know why, it's not a word, but it's The Filmer 2. And I would be making like little Doctor Who fan films. I don't have them anymore. The earliest back I have is November 2007, which I think on my monthly vlog I did a little reaction video to.
To be fair though, like, I think 2007, like from 2005 to like say about 2008 was like peak Doctor Who kind of time, I think, for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, it was peak Doctor Who in general for everybody. Like, it wasn't, because the problem that Doctor Who's had ever since the RTD era is that it's never quite been able to gauge that casual audience again, and it's because, as much as I know that a lot of people weren't a fan of this element, Doctor Who had to sort of become like a mini soap opera. Like it still had like the fascinating stories and everything that's great about Doctor Who, but ultimately it still had that romanticized side of it, which is what the casual viewer was interested in. You're gonna love a love triangle.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'll say this, like, I remember like my mom watching The Runaway Bride with me.
Yeah.
And then I'd see her watching maybe, I don't know, like a random Capaldi episode with like from Series 9 or something. And there's a completely different like reaction to it from her, because with the Runaway Bride, she can kind of, she's in a wedding dress, it's a wedding and whatever.
Well, it's not just that, but also these actors as well. Like they were really, really good with their casting. Like, you had Billie Piper, who was already known for her singing career and also had done some acting already, and then Freema Agyeman, who was a relatively unknown person, but the audience had David Tennant.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, with The Runaway Bride and Series 4, the Catherine Tate show had already been going on with their comedy, with her own comedy show with those sketches. So she was already aware. She was already the audience were already aware of her, and then for her to then come and join Doctor Who, along with the investment in David Tennant, was perfect. And obviously there's Kylie Minogue.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, it would, like, a lot of people moan about the casting, but it got the viewers in. That's the whole point. That's what the show, like, ultimately, whilst the show must obviously be about making good content, you can be making fantastic content, but if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's why I find that sometimes, for example, with Big Finish, how familiar are you with Big Finish?
I've I'm actually I've listened to Sirens of Time, and I'm just on to Neverland with the Eighth Doctor.
You are what I call you are on what I call the prime era of Big Finish.
Oh, I love it, man.
The reason why is because I'm now completely up to date with it. I've listened to all 20 years of Big Finish in about a year and a half. I'm tired, but the prime era will always be between the big, like I'd say pre 2010, because when they first started, they didn't really have any reference to the shows, but now they've got access to the new series stuff. Which I think is great. Anyway, they have. I don't know. I've talked about this with my friend quite a bit, which we think it's become very repetitive and formulaic.
Yeah, like I see it with some of the box art as well. Like, there's a lot of like, oh, here's another Doctor meetup, or here's
Yeah.
Like,
I think, for example, it's all about selling. They need to sell it, and in all fairness, I can't like the new one that's coming out next month with David Tennant and Tom Baker. Yeah. Everyone has been wanting that. It is just the one thing. Yes, like it is the one thing. It's the most classic. It's the favorite Doctor of the classic era. At least the audience favorite, and then the audience favorite of the new series. It's just like it's two of the most well received Doctors.
True.
I don't want to say two of the best Doctors, because obviously that's all subjective. Yeah. But when you look at how audiences received them, Tom Baker was what in terms of audiences, and after he left, the show did slowly start to fall into a downcline.
Yeah,
and much like it's happened similarly with Tennant, it was really held up well, and then obviously, and I don't think necessarily entirely wrongly for the story, Doctor Who became more of a focused more on the sci-fi elements, which is what Doctor Who's always been about. But that doesn't sell anymore because there's all sorts of sci-fi out there. Luckily, Doctor Who has got a very, very specific audience base that you can afford to sort of do that. But you can't. It's difficult to get new viewers introduced, which again I think is a good thing when they restart different eras. You know, when they change showrunners, they do a mini reset.
Yeah.
As much as it can be tiresome, because you're like, I know the story, but for example, a lot of people, like there were some children who said that they never started Doctor Who until series 11 because they didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it is true. You do need a bit of a reset, and it keeps things fresh. Like series 11 and 12 have been very widely criticised, but ultimately, I really actually don't like Moffat's era at all. Because and that's a very unpopular opinion, because it's like the longest era of the new series. But RTD will always be my favourite. But I'm loving what Chibnall's doing with Doctor Who. I know that I've said that to a couple of my friends before, and they've gasped because they've, like, for example, there's always like me and Dan, like, you know, Daniel J. Patton.
Yeah,
his argument for a long time was, but the microwave thing and resolution.
The microwave.
And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, am I right to say, did you reckon I'm right to say spoilers about it? Do you reckon it's been long enough now?
Oh, it's been long enough. Like, it's been nearly.
It's New Year 2019, so we're in the later half of 2020. So, okay, they stopped a Dalek with a microwave, and that sounds ridiculous unless you know the context. Context being, it was made out of iron. Yeah. It wasn't made out of Dalekanium. It was made out of Earth materials, and if you put literally, it's a form of radiation that is used for a microwave to heat up food. So putting that against iron is going to melt it.
Exactly.
But a lot of people didn't see. A lot of people struggled to see through those little bits. It sounds, without the context, it sounds ludicrous.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you just really got to think about the purpose of the story.
I mean, like, people can argue that, but then I just go, lads, Peter Davison pushed a Dalek out a window and it cracked open like an egg.
Well, yeah, it blew up before it hit the ground.
Yeah.
I've had this argument with someone about, like, Daleks just blew up whenever they wanted in the classic series, and they went, no, it doesn't, and they went frame by frame through that, and the charge is actually set off a fraction of a second before it even hits the ground. I'm like, see, technically, if you look at it that way, it started to burst into flames moments before it even had an impact.
I mean, was it? I actually saw this scene from Death to the Daleks. Like literally, there's one that commits like, all right, this is just in context. It commits suicide just because it failed its mission.
Oh, actually, what I love about not necessarily that, but in Planet of the Daleks, they did something similar where the Dalek Supreme killed a Dalek.
Yeah,
I love that stuff because nowadays I think Daleks are kind of treated as if we are all pure. If you make a mistake, you can be absolved because you're pure. It's like, no, because when you look at if they're meant to be Nazis and the Nazis were betraying each other all the time,
yeah.
like if you did one wrong thing, you were seen as a weakness and had to be like extinguished from the group. And that's what I feel like we don't see anymore. Is that Daleks think themselves pure, but they also have to be perfect.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
have strayed. We've strayed so far from the original story I was telling. We've ended up on like on a completely. I'm just thinking to myself, we keep going from place to place. But shall I quickly try and finish my story?
Yeah, we finished that. Yeah.
I think we started that maybe within the first 10 minutes of this recording. But essentially, my friend was making hamster videos. He started in March 2007 on YouTube, and I made my own account called The Film or Two, and I was making some fan films. And I only have it existing from November and December 2007. I've lost all the ones before. I played the 11th Doctor, and this, bear in mind, Series 3 had only just come out at this point. Actually, it was still coming out when I first started YouTube. So I was playing the Doctor after Tennant, and now here we are, 13 years later.
Yeah. and like nearly 4 or 5 Doctors later.
I know. Oh, God. But I made some fan films, and then I made a separate account because I wasn't getting that many subscribers. So I made an account called The Filmer 3, and not to badmouth this company, but this was 13 years ago, so I'm sure they're different now. But there was a company called Veo, like VEOH, where if you put a YouTube link into that, it would download it for you in full quality, but it would have its watermark on it.
Yeah.
And I was uploading clips from Family Guy onto my YouTube account, and I gathered around 5,000 subscribers.
Nice.
And then my account got taken down.
Oh, of course.
So that effectively, and this is the sad thing about it, that is the most popular I've ever been on YouTube. I've been on YouTube since 2007, and the most subscribers I ever had was about 500. In fact, that account with the 500 is still up now, but it got hit for copyright as well.
Quite.
Yeah, it's the one where I upload my monthly vlogs. That one, I think it's dropped in subscribers now because YouTube erase the non-active accounts after a little while.
Yeah.
But I got hit for copyright on that about 7 years ago, and then basically I just went over to this new account which I'm still uploading to this day, and just kept a very strict no copyright rule. But I essentially was making Doctor Who's until about 2010, and then I sort of took a break for a bit, worked on stuff like the Time Traveller visual series, rebooted that in 2014 and did that until 2017. But it was around 2014 I tried making a fan film again, which I've actually released onto the Overton Audios YouTube channel now.
Yeah, I remember that fan film like from 2014 because I remember you were trying to do the series like with episode 1, episode 2, and then it was
a stupid plan. I planned out 12 episodes.
I mean, that's not a bad like plan, I guess.
Yeah, but I didn't plan. Like I planned it, but like there was no plan of action, if you know what I mean.
Like practicality.
Yeah, it was like, I'm going to do this and do that, and I'm just like. Then it came to by the end of episode 2. Even the people who were in it hated episode 2.
Oh.
By the end of it, I just lost all passion for it because effectively episode 1 was made with, I'd argue, if you look at them comparatively, they were made with a lot of passion. But episode 2 became quite difficult because I was actually going to get Ryan Thompson, who's the Doctor before Nathan.
Oh yeah.
I was going to get him in this episode 2 because it was still quite fresh off of the NTC Pictures 50th anniversary special. And at the time where I was living, Ryan actually lived really, really close to me, like at least maybe a 20-minute train journey.
Oh, right.
But then that fell through, and I realised I've lost a doctor. And then as a result, because people couldn't be there all at the same time, because organising things was an absolute pain, and if you're not paying people, there's no guarantee they're going to show up. So I ended up having to shoot the whole thing on green screen. What's hilarious is that the field that we're on exists about a 5-minute walk away from my house.
Oh my! Oh my.
Yeah, in fact, in episode 2 or 1, when Devonte, who was that incarnation before my visual one, runs along a field and then rushes up towards the TARDIS.
Yeah,
that's that field, but over the hill.
Oh my gosh.
That's why a lot of people didn't like it, was because it was all on green screen when it didn't need to be.
Yeah, I guess.
And I just sort of lost my passion for it because everyone hated it. I can't push that fact enough. It got released, nobody liked it, and obviously the amount of green screening and color grading and everything, that amount of detail that went into it was a lot anyway. That for me, I was just so heartbroken.
To be fair, I would admit, like the story, like the actual story itself, like that was definitely like something interesting. Like it was very interesting itself because of the whole, like all the doctors are getting taken out of time and stuff like that, and you know.
Well, yeah, and well, that's what I ended up adapting later for my audios. When I thought, you know what, I'm going to start making audios instead, because there was actually a 50th anniversary audio I did with the Cravat Doctor as well, which is what inspired me to make the visuals in the end.
Oh, right.
But it was made in 3 days with a few mates that I had on Skype. They went away and literally recorded their lines immediately, and I went through and edited it. And we got it done. But I think to put it into perspective, we started it on a Sunday, and it was finished by Wednesday morning.
Jesus.
And we just made it because we just were like, we haven't got anything planned, and it's the 50th. So we just made that, and that was back when it was the Parallel Doctor, before it was Cravat.
Oh, yeah.
So that was still the alternate 9th Doctor.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that. Like, I love that scene you did with the first episode where you kind of showed in the TARDIS which incarnation you are. You know, just to give.
Oh, what at the beginning of the visual cut?
Yeah, you know, like to kind of the beginning where like you're in the TARDIS and you're sort of doing this comparison of incarnations. Like you're the 9th of this cycle, and then
well, that was more to avoid confusion because there have been a lot of questions about where I am in the DW 2012 stuff, and because when I started off making the audios, when I actually made it, I'd only just met Dan. I'd only met Dan once when I made the first audio, and then the following year when he plays the English Doctor, that was still part of another universe. But then towards the end of it, Dan just asked me, do you want to be a part of this universe? And I said, yeah, okay, but I want to be a part of the regeneration cycle because therefore we all kind of can work together as a unit and stuff.
Yeah.
But then I realised that I kind of set up this Doctor as being from another universe. This simple, like the whole point is that this new universe is all brand new to him. That I just thought to myself, I'm gonna have to kill him.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, and then you know, at the end of series 1. The Time Lord General Marsh, just disintegrates him.
Yeah, I remember hearing that, and I was just like, Jesus, the Irish Doctor just dragged this guy to his death. Christ.
Yeah, and something that I didn't realise, but on last month or this month's podcast, I realised was that episode altered perspective, where the Irish Doctor drags the Parallel Doctor to Gallifrey.
Yeah, that
is the first ever appearance in any form of Maggie May.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, because she appears in the movie, in Luke's DW 2012 movie, The Fall of the Doctor.
Yeah,
but that's after. That's her first visual appearance.
Wait, Wait, was that before or after the spark?
It was before. No, sorry, it was after the audio that had come out.
All right.
So her first lines were, "And I'm Maggie May."
Hi.
It's her first appearance in any form as Maggie May. And then as I told Dan that, we suddenly realised that also the first ever appearance of Nathan Chase, which is Dan's Irish doctor's other companion, his first ever appearance is in something else I was making as well.
Right.
Well, then again, it wasn't actually. I don't think it was released. The actor who plays Nathan Chase, the first ever lines he recorded as Nathan Chase were for that, that big Doctor Who special, Transcendence.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to like backtrack through some of the audios in timeline order to get up to Transcendence. So I'm nearly there.
There is a timeline order to it, but in all fairness, it's easier if you just try to remember.
Yeah,
because you'll end up being like, what? Like, especially like in the Veritas volumes.
I'm listening to them. I just got through the first episode where they're like in the old kind of village or something.
Oh, that's General Marsh volume 1.
Oh, that's General Marsh. What I mean, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so good. You are aware of who General Marsh really is. Then.
Oh yeah, because I remember I was listening to the scene where like Veritas finds out who General Marsh is, and he nearly kills him straight away.
Yeah, that's great. But yeah, because General Marsh Volume 1, if I think about it, it's actually, I think it is. I'm trying to remember because we sorted out the timeline of this so long ago, but now, when you're not thinking about it, you forget it. I think General Marsh Volume 1 is actually it's like a semi-prequel / sequel, because it's after he's killed the Parallel Doctor, but before Veritas does the Gathering.
Yeah.
So they're both a bit out of sync there. No. God, no, I'm getting so confused. No, it's after the Gathering still. No, Veritas Volume 1 is set before the Gathering. So, I mean, even I'm getting confused, and I wrote it. But, yeah, General Marsh Volume 1 is set directly after Series 1 of Resurrection.
Yeah.
And then General Marsh Volume 2 is set between Series 2, Episode 8 and 11 of Resurrection. I
actually wanted to ask you, like, how did Overton Audios kind of come about?
This is what's also quite funny is much like the Doctor Resurrection audios. When I first started it, it was just going to be a random YouTube channel that I wasn't going to advertise, and I was only making these audios because I needed to fuel that childhood nostalgia. So I was just like, I need to do something. I am I've just been. Are you familiar with the other visual series I make called Waterside?
I am. Yeah, I've seen a few bits of it.
Yeah, well, basically, I needed to step away from such thorough planning that was Waterside, and it was like cost so much to make, etc., that I needed something I could just do for free and not have to think about. And Doctor Who was one of them. Initially, it was just a random YouTube channel, and then they actually did get copyrighted and taken down. But now what's happened is YouTube have actually changed their copyright system.
Right.
If you get caught using somebody else's music, depending on not so much YouTube, bit of YouTube, but they give the people who own the music a little bit more of a chance to say, "Hey, look, we can keep this video online, but all the funds of the video go to you."
Yeah.
The difference is, I've not monetized it, so there's no way any money could be made. But it's talking about like any future money.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh, but now what some people have started doing is they have actually started monetizing it on their behalf.
Oh,
so technically, there were a couple of audios that you're listening to that other people are earning money off of.
Wow.
But for me, that doesn't matter because I don't earn money anyway. In all fairness, I've used their music. It's fully within their right to say, I just want, because in all fairness, if an episode disappears, it's not going to make any more sense anyway.
Exactly.
So for me, I'm not that bothered about the fact that if they're going to earn money because it's their stuff I've used. But yeah, in terms of all the planning, I later on made Overton Audios when I was setting up my SoundCloud.
Oh yeah, I remember that
account.
You started putting out stuff about it. I don't know whether it was Dan linked it or something or somebody, but
yeah, it was just really basic SoundCloud originally. It wasn't even YouTube. I was uploading preview clips and trailers to the YouTube account, but not the full thing. And then, in all fairness, if I'd stayed on SoundCloud, nobody would have found me. My thinking was SoundCloud is better to listen to things on, because when you go on your phone, if you close your phone screen whilst listening to something on SoundCloud, it carries on playing it for you, like music. Whereas on YouTube, it gets rid of it. And I was thinking, well, this is something to listen to. This is not something to watch. So for people who want to listen to it on their phone, they don't have to keep their phone open all the time and waste battery.
That's true.
But in the end, the views weren't matching. I was only getting like 10 or so views. And Dan just said, you might as well just upload to YouTube as well as SoundCloud to give people both options. And I have, and probably the best decision. Overton Audios was stuck on 30 subscribers for a lot of the time. And then when things started to hot up a bit, like, for example, Luke, just mentioning it, got an extra 50 subscribers. Right. Yeah, and we're now currently, I think it was at 230 subscribers, which is still good enough for me. I mean, the fact is, there's a lot of content coming out. I am planning on slowing down soon on the amount I make, because actually within the last 24 hours, I've been looking for a place to live. I'm planning on moving out. Yeah, it's just one of those things where you're like, I don't know if it sounds. I don't think it sounds silly, but for me, I'm 25. I need to start looking now, or else I will be stuck.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going on 22 at some point, like, so I'm in the same spot, like.
And as well as that, Dan, who's been living away from home in Bournemouth for uni. Obviously, he's finished uni now, so he's gone back home for a bit, so he can actually like sort out a more secure place. But he lived away from home for 3 years without a problem.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just like, well, what's my excuse? I actually tell you, I have lived away from home before for about 3 months, but it was an awful place I was in. Really rough part of Essex. Well, it was an all right place because it was mostly well loved, but it was in a rough area of that place.
Right. Yeah.
And in the time I was there, on that street, there were about 7 stabbings. This was over the course of 3 months, and about 2 shootings.
Jesus God!
Every night I went to bed, and I could always see the blue sirens outside my window, or coming through my window, even though I had the curtains closed. So I was like, well, something's happened. I was living opposite a huge, really tall flat block as well.
Oh, right.
Which a lot of people just put down to that's where all the bad stuff was happening. But it was a bit of a rough time anyway, so I've kind of really been put off moving out for a long time because of that fact.
Yeah, I can imagine
now,
why.
Yeah, but now I'm getting to a point where I'm just like, I'm in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
I need to start actually thinking and having a serious think about how I'm going to live, because, well, frankly, in 5 years I'm going to be 30.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be moving out at the age of 30. I know that, there are certain, like, everyone's different. They've got different circumstances. I've had friends who moved out of home when they were 29.
Oh.
But it was from situations that they can't control. But, with me, it's a case of, if I work hard and not necessarily just going to work, but like in terms of just like having a good credit score, for example, then hopefully it will work out. But yeah, I just want to concentrate on working hard, and that's not necessarily working hard in just going to work every day, but also as well as that's just sort of working on my credit score.
All right.
Because I've been looking into it with my dad as well. The government have actually put in a lot towards first-time buyers, especially people who are in their 20s. As well as that, the government are actually giving you a grant for it. Because they actually, effectively, they want you to be going into the mortgage system. Like they are investing this amount so they can get this much back from you. And I worked out so many good things about it. Like I found one place, which I don't know, at the end of the day, I don't necessarily think I'm going to get it. It's still a long way off. But a place for about 83,000. And when you do the mortgage calculator, if you do it over 25 years, it's only £300 a month.
that's grand.
Yeah, and that, you're just like, oh my God. Because my mum was always worried, when I was younger, she was always worried about the mortgage.
Oh, yeah.
She was always worrying about it. And I think it should be something to worry about. But do you know what I'd just do? I'd just make it a direct debit and move along. No, it's out of your control. You are agreeing to something that you cannot control, but you're agreeing to it.
Yeah.
It's like I've had to take out a bank loan before, and it's going to take me 5 years to pay off. It's been nearly 2 years, and it's been £300 a month coming out of my account anyway. But the point is that I don't have to remember to do it.
Oh yeah, it's just there.
I just know on this day of the month, I will be down by this amount. It's nothing more I need to think about on that fact. But
yeah,
that's how I do it.
I'm sort of like indebted to the to Adobe at the moment with their monthly the subscription.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just stuck with that. It's just I know I'm the same as yourself. I know every month that's me down another 20 quid.
Mm.
Yeah, but it's a livable thing, like.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of editing softwares trying to compete with Adobe now.
Yeah, like DaVinci Resolve and.
Oh man, yeah, I've seen that. That looks great. And as well as that, Final Cut Pro have been making a good comeback as well. They like a friend of mine who's moved from Adobe to Final Cut, based on the fact that it's just like, he says, it's just like Adobe. They still give you a free update and everything, but it's only a one-time payment.
Oh.
And then you've got it forever. It's about £200 for Final Cut. But he said in the long run, you're going to be paying back that £200 to Adobe anyway.
All right.
And I'm just like, that's true. To be honest, probably the amount that we're currently paying for Adobe Creative Cloud, we probably paid for what would be initially the actual product about 3 times.
Christ.
But that's what subscriptions do for you.
True.
And it is, and in all fairness, I can't knock it either. It's a good business model rather than have it be one fixed payment. You get a certain amount per month, because then you're going to get that amount for years. Like with Netflix.
Yeah.
Like Netflix, they probably, if they'd sold it as one package, they wouldn't be making as much money as they are now. If they make it, you have to keep paying for this monthly. They're going to earn probably triple more than that on what would have been if they'd sold it as one singular product.
Exactly.
I like how this conversation's gone from, like, we started from my YouTube beginnings into Doctor Who and how the Daleks are treated, and ended up in like some sort of like marketing political conversation about Adobe, Final Cut Pro, and DaVinci.
That's just how this podcast goes.
Yeah.
Literally, me and George were on the topic of just talking about DW 2012, all that stuff, and then when we just went on to the topic of, like, I think it's on the podcast, him fainting and a TARDIS console landing on top of him.
When did that happen?
It was something that just happened. I don't know. You'd have to listen to that one just to understand.
Yeah, I've not heard that story before. I'm assuming that's Luke's TARDIS that fell on him.
Yeah, but yeah, no, that was. Oh wait, what?
I'm assuming that's you said the console fell on his head.
Oh no, it was a toy console. You know the 11 Doctor TARDIS place.
Oh God.
Oh no, I mean he did say when he went into that console room, he literally just they left him alone for a few minutes, and the first initial thing he did, run around the console, press the buttons.
Honestly, when I went in there, I was so nervous because for me, I'm a very big, tall guy.
You're right.
I couldn't even fit through the doors.
Oh.
That's why in Luke's latest video where he's done the TARDIS build, that's why he's made the doors taller.
To accommodate more.
Genuinely, because I couldn't get in. I had to kind of shrink myself and climb in. Because everybody else got in fine, but not me. I'm too tall.
Jesus.
So he very nicely has lifted the doors for me. And I was in more of I'm in the TARDIS, and I don't want to be the one who breaks it. I don't want to be the one who flicks a switch and it comes off. I mean, in all fairness, when we were filming, Dan actually broke some of it, which was even more reason for me to step away quickly and be like, I'm not touching any of this. I had a few little goes and everything, and I felt kind of embarrassed because I was just so starstruck by it, because Dan was taking a few photos of me at the console and everything. But he and Luke and Meg were just sort of watching on, smiling. I was just like, this is like parents watching their children. Because it's just like they're sort of stood to the side watching proud, whilst I'm like, yay, TARDIS. I'm just like, this is like the weirdest scenario. And as well as that, the coat I wear for winter is actually my doctor's coat. So I was there wearing normal clothes underneath, but wearing my doctor's costume. So I just had to close up my coat as much as possible, so it still looked like I was dressed as my doctor.
I mean, that works. I mean, that console. I know he's rebuilt this recently, but I feel like it's just you have to enjoy it, but you just have to be, I guess, just careful with how much you get, how much effort you put into, I guess, pulling the switches or stuff.
Oh God, yeah. For me, I was watching, for example, when you watch those. Have you seen the outtakes from How Time Flies?
Yes.
Have you seen that shot when Dom runs around the console and falls over? Do you see how much that console bends in?
Oh,
falls in it.
You're just there going, oh my God.
I watched it. I saw him. He fell on the console, and you heard something. And you look at the console, and he's accidentally elbowed something. It's fallen, gone straight through.
Yeah.
So then, when you actually watch the final episode, the damage is still there, and you're just like, oh. You're just like, oh God, oh no. And it's why I was so nervous. But I was filming for the candidate at the time for Dan's new episode.
Yeah.
So for me, I was also very much interested to make it. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if I succeed in this. Dan says I did, but of course Dan would, because it's his episode I'm filming for. But I tried to make the TARDIS look a bit different in the way that I shot it.
Like a bit more atmospheric kind of thing, or
maybe, yeah. How we've always seen it from. I think there's also as well that we've also got our own styles and how we shoot things anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I tried to make it look a little bit cinematic, but obviously in terms of we've always kind of seen it, or we've always seen it from so many different perspectives. I tried to make it sort of seem a little bit new. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, that does, because I know it's only in it for a few shots of that episode, but I think for the ending, there were the ending shots were very well done. I felt it was very kind of the way you had to convey the emotion of how Maggie was feeling near the end of the episode.
Mm.
Yeah, that, I guess for that it worked very well. How the doctor just left, and I guess just kind of left it open for her to look and see the video and stuff like that.
And the new addition of having the screen roll slide around the rotor is brilliant.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It works so well, and
it's not stagnant, like it's not stuck up on the roof anymore or something like that.
Yeah, it was stuck originally, but obviously what I also love about Luke's TARDIS is that it's got a great evolution story.
Yeah,
you know, as they've gone through and been when you watch some of the, I know you can't, well, actually you can't anymore. The originals, not
the original TARDIS from like 2013. Like,
yeah,
it was very more Hartnell inspired, like back then.
Oh yeah, I think to be honest, Hartnell's one was probably going to be the easiest one you can build.
Yeah, and then he sort of like Series 2. Then he sort of updated it to a more Series 7 and 8 kind of TARDIS.
Yeah, but then I think we're at a stage now where it's pretty much at Series 10 level.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
but that's what's great is that Luke's taught himself all of this himself. He's self-taught in doing this. So as he's built one thing and knows it really well, he's then able to take that knowledge and apply it to adapt things, like having the screen fixed to the ceiling and then working out how to make a track for it.
Yeah, I mean, I know he cares about the thing a lot because, like, I remember, what was it? Was it last year, the year before? He had to dismantle the whole thing.
Oh yeah, he not for what he's done now, but basically he found a load of wood rot.
Yeah, that's.
And like, he had to buy a new shed as well.
Yeah,
and which is why for the movie you'll notice that
the Master's TARDIS is
the Master's TARDIS is actually different to the Doctor's because they'd already shot the movie stuff in the original, and then when it came to the Master's TARDIS, it was the perfect opportunity really to do it up a bit.
Because I think they did shoot like in like kind of the old kind of classic Master TARDIS, like with the wall. I remember that from like, I don't know, behind the scenes or something, but I'm guessing they must have just switched that just to do it up a bit, I guess.
Yeah. Essentially, they just put the white roundels on, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Looks nice though, and it looked different, and it looked much more spacious. And
I mean,
I know there was a lot of criticism when Series 5 Episode 1 came out, when everyone was going brand new TARDIS, and it really you can see. I could see the differences.
Yeah,
I understand that when you look at it at face value, and especially when you're not there, you're just looking at it from a camera's perspective. Everything will look the same.
Like, I think for me, I definitely I think it was the spark I could tell the difference because you had, I think, was the first scene of the TARDIS with Dan. You could tell that was the new set because there was way more.
What in the spark?
In the spark, yeah, the first shot where he's talking to the TARDIS himself.
Oh right, yeah, because the first thing when it's him by himself talking to Staticus, that's in the new set, but then in the last thing they shot it was the old set because they'd shot that back in 2017.
Yeah, but like it still kind of works, I guess. You can kind of if you're someone who knows about like design, I guess you can tell that the roof is raised a bit or the walls.
Yeah, and as well as that, the shots they were able to get were a lot wider, and they actually got some wide angle shots looking down at the Doctor addressing Staticus and walking around.
Yeah,
but yeah, the only issue I've ever been able to find now is if not with his TARDIS specifically, but with my Doctor ever using it, is that everybody else's TARDIS is using that interior except me.
Yeah,
because at the time I never thought I was ever going to make a live action, so I am currently working on potentially trying to maybe find a point in the story that maybe the interior could change back to that potentially.
Yeah, I mean, I have that trouble myself. When I think for me it's more I just have to build them out of cardboard. I think I'm just going back to old school and just spraying it, dressing it up a little bit, and just filming on a black kind of bank background or something.
Yeah.
Because I've actually been kind of inspired by yourselves to make my own Doctor.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because I was listening to your audios, and I kind of thought, geez, I could just do some of these, and I wouldn't have to, I wouldn't have to film a lot of visual stuff at all, really.
Well, yeah, that was the reason why I started doing audios, was because I just did not have the time to start working on live action stuff yet. I just was trying to find time in my life, and I couldn't find any. Whereas with audio, get a couple of friends together and you're sorted.
Yeah. And I've just, like, last night now, I finished my third one, which I'm actually, like, I'm gonna say this is the weird, like, in my head I'm thinking this is the weirdest stuff I've ever written in my life. Like, this is, like, you know,
that's Doctor Who for you.
It's just, you're thinking to yourself, I must have gotten completely drunk one night, and this is exactly what I came up with.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I guess all I say is I guess thanks really for the inspiration, you know.
No worries.
Yeah, because, you know, isn't it, because, like, I've just been able, like, I guess it's nice to just be able to do stuff when you're,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But
the way I make these audios probably isn't inspiring.
Yeah, you'd be really surprised. You'd be surprised, man. Trust me. But
I most of the time with Resurrection Series 1 and 2, I wrote them as I went along. I never thought about them. I was just like, okay, I guess we'll have the Mechons in this story, and like I've actually had now ever since that first podcast. Well, I just made that disclaimer going, if you want to write something for me, just do it, and I'll make it. Like, literally, I'm easy. And it sounds like a lot of people, I've had one or two people ask me if that's me just admitting to stealing, and I'm like, it's not stealing because they're writing it for me.
I mean,
and I'm always like, I never want to be that kind of person who's trying to make it out like we're in some sort of elite group.
Oh, right, yeah.
You know, where people go, no, it's only for these people, not for you. It's like, no, we're all fans of the show, and in all fairness, with all the amount of, like, you know, like what's happened with Anya recently, with all the toxicity towards her.
I saw the story from that, and I was just like, oh, like, whoever said that stuff to her is just.
Yeah, thing is that I don't know them personally, but I know people who have said this sort of stuff.
Oh, right.
And it's just not on.
I've talked to both Dan and Anya, like, in the past, and, like, Dan especially because of something in the future, but like, they're both very, very kind people, like, very nice and everything. And I remember the stuff that people were saying about her after the Spark came out, and I was like, why? She's just acting and just having fun with it. Like, what's the problem here?
Yeah, like, I don't get why people do that. I can't even make sense of it.
Yeah,
we're all just friends. Like, at the end of the day, I consider anyone who's in the Doctor Who fandom to be a friend. We all share the same interest. Why are we having to have this situation where we're turning against one another? And I know that the main reason why it will be a lot of people blaming the way the show is at the moment, but that's no excuse.
Yeah.
I don't like the Moffat era, but I'm not going to go ahead and tell. For example, Dan loves the Moffat era, but he's one of my best mates. Yeah. So it goes to show, like, you know, his TARDIS is the Moffat.
Yeah, and like
model, as is, and Luke's is heavily based on it too. It's like. So, like, it doesn't matter. Oh, this is Moffat's era. Like, who cares? Who cares? Like, at the end of the day, aside from the literal obvious part of what a TARDIS does, it is, in a sense, a working TARDIS.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're stepping, like, this is like walking into the actual one that they use in the show. This is like the Doctor Who experience at home, like.
Oh yeah, this is 100%. Luke's TARDIS is the closest. If you like, this is the closest you will get, unless you actually get to the. Well, actually, in fairness, that interior has been dismantled now. So no, this is the very closest you'll ever get to getting into the Moffat era TARDIS.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. I just don't get the toxicity. Was it the toxicity or whatever? And
yeah, toxicity.
Yeah, and
even though I'm saying it wrong.
That's alright. But, like, I just hope she's alright, Dan's alright, and, you know, they can just not mind any of that and just keep going with themselves, you know?
Oh yeah. That's why Anya's left the community, but she's more than happy to carry on acting in it. She it's her and Danya. I'm about to say Danya. Her and Dan produce it together. At the end of the day, that's not changing. But she's just not, she's just not getting involved because we've had discussions for a while, but ultimately, whilst she's got, I don't want to speak for her here, but whilst she's got friends in this community, ultimately, if it outweighs what's going on with other things, like with other bits of the community, then she's not going to lose those friends if she leaves.
Exactly.
And she hasn't.
No.
Like we all 100% stand by her and completely agree with her reasoning.
Yeah.
But and she loves, and she's made it so clear that she loves the fans and loves all the fan artwork, and she'll always appreciate that. At the same time, she can't hurt herself more emotionally with that.
Yeah, and I know there have been I definitely know there are people out there who just love to hate, sometimes just love to hate, but it's just sometimes you just have to take a step back, and
yeah.
And look, I'm glad she's sticking on to do the series and stuff, because that's, as you said, something her and Dan can do. They're doing together.
Yeah, exactly.
And
but they're still working on Fractured Timeline, and obviously Anya still has very much a say in other bits to do with Uncharted Past.
Yeah.
It's not like that's ever going to change.
Of course not.
And in all fairness, it's just how it's always been.
Yeah, and I mean, Jesus, it's just all about having fun, really.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, Jesus, I saw Uncharted. I remember listening to the Volume 2 of Uncharted Past, and the first thing it is the Doctor and Nathan on the last day of the holidays.
Yeah.
And it was just I was like, wait, so Dan's doctor's a dad now? He's a dad.
Yeah, it's a really interesting concept that Dan's come up with for that.
Yeah, because I was like, I've seen the Doctor be a lot of things over the years. I mean, you're technically your Doctor's technically I guess a resurrected meld of the parallel, maybe the parallel Doctor and.
Yeah, basically in series 2 episode 1, they were trying to bring back the parallel Doctor, but then when it was like a turn left situation where they were, but like the opposite way, where they were trying to bring the Doctor back together using. Well, basically, the Doctor had turned into this sort of situation where he'd been turned into atoms, like the actual Doctor, and they were going to use that Doctor's energy to bring back the parallel Doctor. And in doing so, Henry becomes distracted, and when thinking of the Doctor, he remembers the Irish Doctor, and as a result, brings the Doctor back from this universe as opposed to the parallel one.
Yeah. So
we do actually have a story coming up in Resurrection Season 4 where the parallel Doctor is actually in it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we wanted to put that nail in the coffin as to what he is.
Ah, right.
So with the Cravat Doctor, he's going to explain how everything works. And because obviously we saw Veritas is the future incarnation of the parallel Doctor, and the parallel Doctor is dead, he's an aberration, like a paradox in himself,
like an anomaly.
An anomaly. Yeah. I have trouble saying that as well, but it's essentially that, and it's explaining how things work.
Well, I look forward to seeing it. I mean, Jesus, you definitely dropped the surprise on us a couple of weeks ago with that little teaser.
Oh yeah,
I was just there like, oh, this should be a lovely little teaser. Oh my god, all right.
Yeah. But then, that's the thing, is that having to try. The problem is now we want to hit the nail on the coffin to say that we can stop talking about other Cravat Doctors. Yeah. I wanted to put something out for lockdown, and the only thing I could think of was that visual cut.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm dressed as the Cravat Doctor in that as well. So how do I explain this properly? Which is why I did that little bit. just saying that. Well, to be honest, it's like the Doctor just taking an interest in the multiverse. So we've worded it, and then obviously from that there were sub timelines or whatever.
I mean, to be fair, the multiverse idea is pretty good because then you can have other universes with like Doctor Who, Velocity, I guess any other like the TV show, or
exactly.
Or, like, I mean, I'd definitely say my one is a parallel universe because the shit that I've thought it up in my head, the stuff that happens in that would not fly in any other universe. I don't want to curse anybody else's like Doctor Who series with that kind of crap. Like,
yeah, that's absolutely fair.
I mean, but like, it's just all like it's all interesting and stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you kind of do, what you do with that kind of story arc and stuff. But I just want to ask you also on this, like, I've seen that you've done. I know you did I think you did a fan film about this at one point, but you've turned it kind of into an audio as well. Supers.
Oh, Supers! Yes, good old Supers. good old Supers. Yeah, Supers. Yeah, made that between 2008 and 2010. That it basically the series just became me walking around eventually, and no one else. It was one of the ironically, if it was even one of the back in that day when I was making like Doctor Who's, it actually had a bigger cast in Supers than the Doctor Who stuff I was making.
Jesus.
And effectively, the only reason it got cancelled was because that was back when I was at school, and people lose interest.
Yeah.
And it was just me for about 23 episodes. It was just me, and I was using not even stock footage, just old footage of my friends from previous episodes to make it look like I was having a conversation with them.
Oh, right.
That's how sad it got. And then I just thought, you know what, I can't. I love Supers, but I can't keep doing this. And it ended up with just cancelling it in 2010. And then when I was making the audios again, I was listening to, this was back in 2018. I just thought, I'm really, really thinking I could try and make Supers now, but I could still have a new cast because Ollie made a series called Mortis.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
And essentially, it would tie into that a bit.
No, that's cool. I mean, like that's interesting way for everybody to kind of collab on something,
Yeah, exactly. We still were collaborating on things because Mortis, he played a character called Mortis in Supers, and he then sort of left Supers and made his own spin-off as well, and that tied in really well with what I had planned for Supers, because Supers, when I'd finished it initially, the visuals was a shell at that point. All the main story arc had gone. Although we are actually talked about this a few months ago now on the podcast, but me and Ollie are planning to recreate the first stories we made visually, but actually make them bearable.
Oh, right.
Because of because we've uploaded those clips, those visual clips on the Overton Audios YouTube channel, just like a bit of context.
Right.
Just because obviously it's called Supers Volume 8 and Volumes 1 to 7 aren't around. So we're sort of working out bits and pieces of how we make it work, but we're thinking about making Volumes 1 to 7 in audio, but nothing too extravagant. Nothing like, because with Volume 8, that was 8 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
But we'd probably stick to how Volume 9 and 10 was done with the 4-episode structure, just because otherwise we're just going to burn out.
Oh, yeah. Because you want to kind of keep a bit of consistency, but you want to watch.
Yeah, exactly. And it won't take too much time to do either, because when you look at it, this is how far in advance I work. You know the time traveler audios I make? 2015 has just come out, which it's the second volume. 3 days ago, we finished and finalized all of the 6th volume.
Jesus.
So we're and the 6th volume comes out the middle of next year.
Christ.
So we've just finished finalizing that. The 3rd volume comes out in October, and then the 4th one comes out just before Christmas. 5th one at March next year, and then the 6th one in June.
That's a lot. That's a lot of pre-planning, like.
Oh yeah. We because Time Traveler, but you've seen that visual series, haven't you?
Yeah, I've seen it with like Chris Thompson and all that. What was it? It was on Twitter.
Yeah. The better one, I call it, because we made 2 of them. One where I was the main character, and another one where I'm just a secondary character who disappears by the end of series 2.
Yeah, I remember there was like an explosion in a building or something that happened.
Yeah, exactly. Well, these audios were obviously set between those audio stories, but we've always known what we wanted to do for series 4. But the problem is, with how series 3 ends, there is no way for us to do it visually and for it to even work.
Ah, right.
Do you remember how series 3 ends?
I'm trying to. It was a bit ago now that I've seen that series.
I'll let you. I'll tell you. Half the human race dies.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. The plotline of the series was that they were trying to wipe out half the human race so that this company could gain control over the masses.
So you basically Thanos
Well, that's the thing. We were shooting this back in 2016, and we've been planning it since 2015. So we had no idea about, because I'm not a comic book guy.
Yeah.
I like the superhero movies, but I had no idea about the Infinity Gauntlet comics until people started comparing Infinity War and Endgame to the comic.
Yeah.
I knew that obviously they came from the comics. Anyway, so I knew that when the trailers came out explaining what Thanos' plan was, I knew at that point, I was like, okay, well, this obviously comes from the comics, and this is literally a complete coincidence. But at this point, the 3rd series of Time Traveler came out in 2017, so we were still a year before.
Yeah.
Problem is that we can't really do what the world looks like now because we haven't got the money to corner off roads.
There's too many people.
Oh, exactly, and so there's no way we could do it. So what we've done is, with these audios, we've done a kind of, we're calling them in 2 eras. There's 6 volumes set within the anthology, which is the anthology being within the visuals series. So you've had the years, the ones that are named after the years that the series was coming out on.
Yeah.
Like, got 2014 set during Series 1, 2015 is Series 2. The final act, which don't know if you remember that now, but that's actually one with Agent Nathan, played by Chrisin.
Yeah.
However, in that, Chris is not reprising his role as Agent Nathan.
Oh, right.
Because it was just availability in the end.
But that's fine.
Yeah, so it was a shame, but we got someone who can sort of do his scent gravelly voice, and we're trying to keep it true still. And then we've got 2016. 2016 though does not actually have a series set in it.
Oh,
because Series 2 is set in 2015, Series 3 is set in 2017. So 2016 was kind of what I'd call a pilot for any future continuation of Time Traveler.
Oh, so this would be like you're setting the kind of...
Yeah, 2016 onwards is setting the groundwork for anything that will come after Series 3. And it's also got none of the original characters in.
Oh.
I don't think. No, tell a lie. It does. It has Aaron.
Oh, yeah.
Played by Peter M. George.
Yeah.
He appears for one episode out of the 4, but the rest of them are all... Oh, actually, no, tell a lie. It's got Axel Quinton in as well. No, because it essentially that one is a little heist to do with Quinton Technologies.
Oh, right.
It's a little heist thing where they've got to go and steal some information. But Axel Quinton does appear in it, yeah. And I think the Grid Mainframe does as well.
Right.
By default. But I can't say any more now without actually giving away what the whole plot line is.
But that's good. That's a good way to divorce it, I guess.
Yeah. But then obviously, do you remember when Dan was in Time Traveler?
I don't particularly know. I wouldn't.
Then that means you've probably only seen up to series 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically Dan plays a character. He did play a news reporter originally, but basically when that explosion in the building that you're talking about, that you've spoken about, happened, because that was the point, that the time travelers went back in time to stop. It rippled across time and created 2 timelines.
Oh, right.
So there's one timeline where the villains were successful, which is the original timeline, and another where the time travelers succeeded and created a new timeline. But because I looked up this, and it was really interesting. Look, Stephen Hawking did a talk about, if you were to time travel, how many times could you change the past?
Yeah.
And there's actually a limit.
There's a limit.
There's a limit. There was actually a limit. I believe it's 5.
5.
You can do it 5 times before time can, because the whole weave of time is that things that will happen, and if you stop them from happening, they'll happen later.
Oh, so there'll be like it won't happen. Like you stopped it now, but eventually at some point.
Yeah. Time finds a way to correct itself because otherwise it will break.
So say I go back in time, I save someone from dying. Eventually, time is going to whirl back around to kill them again.
Well, I mean, either way, the person's going to die at some point.
Yeah.
It's just when. And
that's very like Big Finish when Aid saves Charlie from the R101.
Yeah, exactly. And but either way, something has to fill that void. Something didn't happen. It either happens to someone else, or if it doesn't happen, it happens later. And that's something that we're exploring with Time Traveler, which is they stop all these horrible things from happening with Thorncourt, but like there's always going to be a threat.
Oh, right.
Because essentially we actually had an idea for the original Series 4 of Time Travel was going to be that someone goes back in time to stop a little something that happened in Series 3.
Yeah.
And then time goes wrong completely, and the same characters still exist, but things get erased about them. The world's a completely different place, and it was going to be something about that, but we decided not to go down that route because it's always been, even though it's got time travel in it, it's always been a very grounded story, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's always been grounded to things that already are pre-existing. So we thought, okay, there's no actual possible way that we can actually have time get changed all that much anymore. Like, we've gone through the limits, so the only thing that we can do is either erase everything or find a really good loophole that actually works in everyone's favor.
Just go back. It's like, all right, we found something here where we can just change that and everything just goes back to normal.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, the only reason why it works in Series 3 was because the villain has actually come forwards in time from the past to change things.
Oh, right.
So the only reason why it worked in that series for them to do that was because somebody else was already trying to do it. So if anything, they weren't changing it, they were already correcting it.
Oh, correcting the present.
So those are the sort of twists we're having to think of at the moment for time travel. And with those different timelines as well, that alternate timeline where Thorncourt won, that they accidentally created, we've nicknamed that, and it's called Earth Corp.
Oh.
And that's another volume that we've made where it goes into the origins of Jason, who is Dan's character.
Oh, so it's kind of giving him a backstory, as a kind of more of a backstory in a way.
Oh, 100%.
Nice.
100%. I'm looking forward to it coming out. That is, I've pretty much completely.
I mean, it seems like you've definitely got your work cut out for you anyway for the next.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing is when I was talking about like slowing down on some things when I move out, which may be this year.
Yeah.
Things are like I've got every single release for this year sorted, and I've done about half of next year.
Wow.
So if things slow up and I can't keep up anymore, my idea is that basically next year everything is weekly.
Right.
But this year, 2020, everything has been bi-weekly, which is every or twice a week for a whole year.
Jesus.
So my plan is for the 2022 schedule, if I make it that far, is to make things be every month or so, have one release a month. So I'm really narrowing it down to the real core things.
Right.
Because otherwise I'm going to burn out and heavily crash, and people might witness a mental breakdown eventually.
Well, I'd say it's always like keep up the good work, but just be good to yourself, like, you know, just.
Oh yeah, I am enjoying making them. It's like, I think I always say to Dan, because Dan is like, how much more are you making? And for me, I work very, very hard at my job, that I need something to cool me down, and that is just making stuff.
Ah, right.
So as a result, it gets a bit out of hand. But then my plan is, when I start sort of slowing down, I will still make things, but it'll probably be working more with people rather than on my own stuff.
Right.
And thus, you know, being able to still make the same amount, but obviously with people rather than just for Overton Audios.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
Well, look, that'll be good to see anyway. Once everything starts, like those things start to come out, like, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But I look forward to it, man. I really do hope it stays the course that it's going at the moment for you, like. Yeah.
Well, at the very least,
yeah.
Time traveler stuff is coming out. I've got that. I could take a break for 6 months if I wanted to on that now.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a good old holiday, like.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, I was just checking there. I'm just checking your time just to see how long we have.
Oh God.
Yeah, I was just checking there. I'm just making sure.
Blimey! Wow, that time's flown by. I think I've been talking too much.
It's all good, man. It's great. It's great hearing you chat about stuff, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I am probably going to have to head off now. Sorry.
I don't know, friend. I was just saying, just before you go, would you like to shout out anything you're doing currently, or anything that's coming out? So
everything. No. At the moment, in terms of releases, Doctor Who Resurrection Season 4, as of recording this, Episode 2 has just come out. Perfect time to hop on, as it is kind of like a soft, not a reboot, but a soft sort of restart. You can jump on. It's a jumping on point. And it's 12 to 13 episodes, so we're on Episode 2 now, so you can give it a watch and start now.
Great. So please go check out this kind of stuff over on Overton Audios. They're very good. They're in collaboration with the DW12 and Fractured Timeline. So definitely do give them a listen, because they are actually very important when you're watching the other stuff. So, and also give a listen to Supers, Waterside, Time Traveler, because they're very good original series as well. And yeah, any more you want to say yourself, Connor?
Other than thank you to yourself, no.
No problem. Well, it was great talking to you, and I hope we do so again sometime.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah. So this has been Aidan Type on the SuperCircuit Podcast, and we'll see you later.